hot. It's still on, but it's never been that weird. Oh well, let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and this is Regular Guy Training, and today I am going to talk about a Vortex optic. This would be the Strikefire 2, I believe, like their latest generation of their fake point comp M2. Okay, now some of you may ask the question as this review goes along, hey man, why is that thing unloaded? You're always about loaded guns, blah blah blah. Well, the problem is that while I was getting the last of the shoot footage on this thing, or rather just the shoot footage on this thing after the testing that we did, I noticed this picture. So then I decided that I was going to go ahead and fire a follow-up magazine at around about 50 yards, and I discovered this. So, between last year and this year, that would be the 416R stainless steel barrel I killed in that RWMD upper, the 20-inch barrel from the PSA Premium upper, which, by the way, the extended review on that's coming. I just got to get a new barrel for it. The M16 carbine barrel that was killed. The last two barrels, meaning that and the 20-inch barrel, were killed by students. The 12.5 barrel that I killed a while ago, like very shortly after the 416R stainless barrel from the RWMD build. What else? What else? Help me. There's another guy off camera. And this one. Oh, and Josh's. So, after all of those barrels, this one was actually killed. Now, the thing is that we found this out a little while ago. We found this out during this class. And you notice that the guy carrying it, obviously, that's not his gun, that's my gun. That was one of two soldiers that we had brought out for Rifle 1 and 2. And we thought we saw keyholing there. I fired a magazine into a target and I was like, ah, no keyhole, sweet. No. The barrel's dead as fuck because I come out here and shoot it, and the first thing that happens is that I keyholes like every round now. So, it is what it is. But that's why it's unloaded, and that's because it's useless. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this optic here. Now, this optic was sent to me by a dude that wanted me to do a review on it. I believe it's his personal optic because it was sent in rando packaging, I think. And he said, beat the fuck out of it. If it dies, it dies. Well, the thing it was riding on died, but not the optic itself. Now, like I said, this is Vortex's like fake point comp M2. This would be, I don't know how many Vortex optics that are on here, but the last one I did was on the fridge. Or the UH1. Now, here's the thing. A couple of similarities between the two. I think these two optics are project their quote-unquote dots or their reticles the same or similarly, because the very first thing that I noticed was that anytime that the gun went under recoil or anytime that I would snap the gun from target to target pretty fast, it would almost be as if, like, let's say you're playing video games and whatnot on your PC, and a whole bunch of shit ends up on the screen at the same time, and you suffer like a frame rate drop. Like, it'll go from 60 to like 20 really fast, and you'll notice the difference really quick. So it's weird because I believe this is projected digitally, and similar to the UH1, where if I transition from target to target really fast, I'll notice it. But unlike the UH1, that was the holographic optic that I reviewed not too long ago. You notice it during each individual shot, which honestly, while it doesn't have like a functional problem, it's pretty annoying. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This is a Each individual adjustment here is a half-minute adjustment, which would be roughly a half-inch at 100 yards. What's kind of cool is that these individual caps come with their own tools, and the individual caps that come with their own tools can be used to adjust the elevation and windage, because both caps have the same sort of flathead cutout for it. So that's kind of neat. Far as battery life goes, it's been okay. Like I've left it on for a minute. It's not obviously as much as a lot of other offerings that are out there, particularly like Hollow Sun, Aim Point, that kind of shit. And the controls on it are held in place by like this rubbery material. The older version of this had a power button on the side, and then you went up and down as far as brightness and that kind of stuff. This one is simply turned on with your brightness setting button, so they've eliminated that. The rubber housing on this is much tougher than it was on their older iteration. I remember doing a review on a much older iteration where I had basically epoxied this back to the optic. That kind of shit didn't happen to this one individually. Now granted, this wasn't with me quite as long as the older generation was before I did that review, but this is climbing on like a year, and it was on a bunch of different guns. This would be the rifle that I rode on most of the time. Now, I could sit here and go over what it comes with and all that stuff, but you guys can figure that out really fast on Optics Planet. Let's talk about a couple of user interface type things. As far as the brightness is concerned, it falls in this weird place because I can get the dot, generally speaking, bright enough to do the job or dim enough to like zero a rifle or that kind of thing, right? But I noticed like this weird, it's in like this weird place between a little too dim and a little too bright every time. So it's not so much a knock on the optic as it is an individual preference, because everyone reads light and optic or reticle projections a little bit differently. But for me personally, it was always just a tick too bright or a tick too dim. Not that big of a deal, it's just more of a quality of life, right? As far as mounting solutions and that kind of thing, a lot of optics are coming out with like QD stuff out the gate. Like for instance, I just got the latest and greatest whiz bang. We're trying really, really hard to be an aim point T2 from Hollow Sun, and it comes with a QD basically out the gate with it, as well as a spacer for a lower third co-witness. So you have a low mount and a lower 1/3 out the gate. This either has this height mount or this same height mount with a, God, I don't even know the friggin' term for it, but an additional set of rings that'll scoot it out a little bit further. So, okay, cool, not that big a deal. And as far as getting a quick release mount for a Vortex optic like this, you don't have to hunt too terribly hard, but it does require a little bit more effort to find than a lot of other optics that are out there that have been more commercially successful and that kind of thing. Now, obviously, we weren't really nice to this. You can see some of the scraping on it and that kind of stuff. You can see that it basically came here straight from a class. I shot it a little bit today after shooting it on and off, actually quite a bit for, like I said, almost a year. Or maybe more, actually. The guy who sent me this could tell me exactly how long I friggin' had it, because he sent me a couple of messages here and there like, where's that fucking review coming, man? Because my reviews on equipment take a minute. But here it is. So, look, the bottom line here is that, is it functional? Yeah. Does it have everything you necessarily need to bolt it to a rifle, zero it, and do well? Yes. Does it maintain at zero? Yeah. I mean, throughout the time that it's spent on this gun or the couple other guns that I've mounted it to, but I'm going to really count this one the most because it was shot like something like 4,000 rounds on this gun between myself here and there during individual practices or with students. No one has complained of zeroing issues whatsoever. In the last class that we did, our soldier that we'd sent through was a dummy, and he didn't tighten this down enough, nor with Loctite, so it started to come loose, but that's not the equipment's fault, that's an idiot's fault. So, and I could say that because he's in my platoon, goddammit. Messina, you suck ass at everything. So, you know, it is what it is. I haven't really had any issues with the optic itself, but I personally wouldn't buy it. Now, is it overly expensive? Sort of like middle of the pack. But are there better options out there? Absolutely. In smaller packages? Yes. With better projected reticles and that kind of stuff, so I don't get that weird frame loss type strobe thing? Absolutely. And are there certainly optics out there with better battery life? Yeah, for sure. So while it isn't really a bad optic, quote unquote, it's older tech now. I would get stuff from other people. Like the first stop that I would go to is either Primary Arms or friggin' HoloSun, but you know, it's in that price range, so I'm not gonna sit there and talk about like EOTech or friggin' Aimpoint or any of the other shit, because guys that are looking for this optic are obviously in the position where they're looking for a reliable optic that is not that damn expensive. So I don't got much else to say, so I'm gonna cut this off here. Remember, we still have classes available. I just got my fiscal year schedule for the Army and whatnot, so stand by for upcoming classes and that kind of thing. I promise you, shotgun will be on the docket for this year, for the guys that bought shotguns and came out to the last shotgun class, to include the guy that's off camera sitting right next to me that bought a shotgun for the class, a 930, and wasn't able to go.
You fucking cunt.
Sucks tons of dick. By the way, there's a 930 review coming. Haha. So so there's that. Again, if you don't want to spend full price for the 2 days and that kind of thing, we certainly have the $35 a month Patreon program. It's basically a gym membership thing where you guys can come out and, you know, take as many classes with us as you'd like for $35 a month. I still view it as the best damn value in the industry, especially for what's on offer, which now, if you take, for instance, Rifle 1 and 2 with us, that's 4 days, 2,800 rounds, 2 night shoots, and all of that wrapped into what would equate to $35 that month. Under $500 a year. Okay, I'm going to stop shamelessly plugging myself now. But either way, point is, that's there. If you want to join us on Facebook, you certainly can. Link for all of this shit is in the description below. If you want to get a hat from us, you can certainly get a hat from us. It's on our friggin' website, you know, so link for that in the description below. Because if no one else is going to front my brand and whatnot on the YouTubes, I got to. And really, that's all I got, guys. So, remember, regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. There's far too many people coming into this shot real soon. And, and remember, be easy.